March 15, 2023, 3 a.m. A 64-year-old man stands on his apartment balcony, 14th floor. His phone displays a notification that just arrived. Your position has been liquidated. Balance $0.00, $58,000. His entire life savings vanished in just 4 hours. He gripped the railing. His hands trembled. This is really the end. At that moment the door behind him opened. "Honey, what are you doing out there?" It was his wife's voice. 40 years together. That night, he didn't die. And 1 year later, his account showed $1.6 million. A success story? No, this is a survival story. Let's call the protagonist of this story Mr. Young, born in Busan, Korea in 1959. Immigrated to America in 1995, with his wife Soon-ja, 7-year-old son Jun-ho, and 4-year-old daughter Sujin. When he landed at LAX he barely spoke any English. His first memory of America was fear. 6 months later, he opened a small dry cleaning shop in LA's Koreatown. Clean Master Dry Cleaning, 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. No weekends, no holidays. Mr. Young, don't you take any days off? No day off. Family need money. That was his American dream. His wife worked alongside him. Their kids did homework in the back of the shop. Dinner was always kimbap or cup noodles. 27 years like that. Through the LA riots, financial crisis, and COVID. Gritting his teeth, in 2022, at 64 years old, one morning, while ironing, his chest suddenly tightened. He was rushed to the ER. "Mr. Young, if you keep going like this, you'll have a heart attack." ER bill $3,800. Insurance deductible $1,500. That fall, the dry cleaner closed. After 27 years, on closing day, Mrs. Patterson came by, a 20-year regular customer. "Mr. Young, I'm going to miss you. Thank you. You, best customer." That night Mr. Young cried for the first time, silently, so no one would know. The money left after closing the shop, $58,000. That's what 27 years of work left him with. 401k. That was a luxury for a self-employed immigrant. Social Security was $1,400 a month. LA rent is over $2,000. At least he owned a condo. But HOA fees and taxes kept draining money. His son Jun-ho worked at a tech company in New York. His daughter Sujin was a nurse in LA. He tried to send money, but he always refused. He couldn't imagine being a burden to his children. After retirement, he had nothing to do. The habit of waking at 5 a.m. for 27 years remained. He'd sit on the couch watching TV, lunch, nap, more TV. Going outside meant running into people he knew. "Mr. Young? Retired now? So what are you doing these days?" That question terrified him. He stopped going to the Korean church he'd attended for 20 years. No appetite. Couldn't sleep at night. When he woke at dawn, he'd just stare at the ceiling. How am I going to live? What if I become a burden to my kids? Growing old and poor in America is a lonely thing. Then one day, his son Jun-ho called. "Dad, how are you doing?" "Oh, same as usual." "Dad, have you heard of Bitcoin?" What? Bitcoin? It's been going up a lot. I'm doing a little trading myself." His son mentioned it casually. "If you're interested, I can teach you. It's pretty fun." After hanging up, Mr. Young thought about it. Bitcoin. He'd seen it on the news before. Isn't it a scam? Lots of people lost money on that. But his son was doing it. That night, for the first time, he searched Bitcoin on YouTube. Endless videos appeared. At first, he understood nothing. Blockchain mining, altcoins, leverage. It sounded like an alien language. But strangely, he got hooked. He watched until dawn. And the next day, and the next. For a man with nothing to do, he finally had something to do. His wife asked, "Honey, what are you watching all the time?" "Oh, just studying." Studying? Studying what? Investing. Learning about investing. She looked at him with worried eyes. Investing? Isn't that dangerous? I'm just studying. Don't worry. He studied for a month, 10 hours a day. He focused like he had at the dry cleaner. English was hard, but there were Korean videos too. He took notes, by hand, page after page. Leverage betting big with borrowed money, dangerous. Stop loss selling at a loss, to prevent bigger losses. Long betting it goes up, short betting it goes down. He learned the basics, one by one. A month later, he made a decision. Let's try this. January 2023. Mr. Jung created an exchange account, $58,000. He deposited everything. His hands trembled. Is this the right thing to do? But he pressed the button. First trade Bitcoin long position. 5x leverage. 3 days later, he checked his account. $12,000 in 3 days. He couldn't believe it. At the dry cleaner. How long would it take to make $12,000? At least 2 months of backbreaking work, but sitting at a computer for 3 days? That night, Mr. Jung smiled for the first time in a long while. Wait, is this actually working? He didn't know. That was the most dangerous thought of all. After that first success, Mr. Jung gained confidence. He traded every day. Some days he made $5,000, others $8,000. In 1 month his account grew to $120,000, more than doubled. He told his wife, "Honey, I think I'm good at this." She was still worried, but relieved to see life return to her husband. Be careful, don't get greedy. I know, but greed had already begun. He joined online trading communities, a Kakao Talk group chat full of Korean traders. He saw their profit screenshots. Made $20,000 today lol. 100x leverage $50,000 in 10 minutes. Mr. Jung's gains suddenly looked small. Why can't I make as much as them? They're using 100x leverage, and I'm only at 5x. Then someone messaged him. Nice gains. I use 10-20x leverage, way more efficient. Want me to share my strategy? Mr. Jung was tempted. They talked. How can I make more? Simple, raise your leverage. When you're confident, bet big. Isn't that risky? Of course, but high risk, high reward, right? That's how I made $100,000 in a year. Mr. Jung believed him. Late February 2023, his account reached $140,000. He thought he found the perfect setup. Bitcoin was definitely going up. He raised leverage to 20x. Put 80% of his entire account into one position. That night, Bitcoin crashed. 8% drop. 20x leverage with an 8% drop. 160% loss. Liquidated. The notification appeared. Your position has been liquidated. Mr. Jung stared blankly at the screen. $110,000 gone. In 4 hours. $30,000 left. His hands shook. What? What just happened? His heart felt like it would explode. He couldn't breathe. He ran to the bathroom, leaned over the toilet and retched. Nothing came out. His stomach was empty, just dry heaving, over and over. The next morning, his wife asked, "Honey, what happened last night? Is something wrong?" "No, nothing, just felt sick." He lied. He couldn't bring himself to say it. Lost $110,000 in one night? He couldn't tell her. From that day, Mr. Jung became obsessed with recovery. I need to turn $30,000 back into $140,000. One big win to recover everything. He raised the leverage higher. 30x. Lost again. 25x. Lost again. $10,000 left. He traded like a madman, 50 times a day, 100 times. When he won, he bet more. When he lost, higher leverage. He stayed up all night, didn't eat. His wife brought him food, but he wouldn't touch it. "Honey, please eat something." Later, later, later. It's always later. "What are you even doing?" she yelled. He didn't answer. He couldn't take his eyes off the screen. March 15, 2023. Dawn. The last $10,000 was liquidated. Balance $0.00. He stared at that number for a long time. $58,000. 27 years of savings. Gone in 2 months. He slowly rose from his chair, walked through the living room to the balcony, 14th floor. He placed his hands on the railing. The wind was cold. City lights blinked in the distance. He thought, what have I done? What do I do now? What do I tell my family, my son, my daughter, my wife? Maybe it would be better. Maybe if I just ended here. Would the life insurance pay out? Then, behind him, the door opened. I don't know how long I stood there. Minutes. Maybe hours. The railing was cold under my hands. The city lights below looked like stars I could fall into. 14 floors. That's all it would take. I was calculating. Life insurance. Would it pay out for something like this? Would my family be better off without me? A failed husband. A failed provider. 27 years of work, gone in 2 months. Then I heard the door slide open behind me. Honey, what are you doing out there? Come inside. It's cold. Soonja's voice. 40 years of marriage in that voice. I couldn't turn around. I couldn't let her see my face. Just a minute. Talk to me. We've been together 40 years. She walked closer. I felt her standing beside me, not touching, just there, waiting. I tried to speak. Nothing came out, but my body betrayed me. Tears. For the first time in 40 years, tears fell from my eyes. I couldn't stop them. She grabbed my face, forced me to look at her, and I broke. I lost everything. All of it. Gone. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I told her everything. The trading. The wins that made me confident, the leverage that destroyed me, the lies I told her every morning, the $110,000 vanishing in 4 hours, the revenge trading that took the rest, the $0.00 balance on my phone. I sobbed like a child. 40 years of being the strong one, the provider, the man who never complained. All of it collapsed on that balcony. I gripped the railing and wept. She was silent for a long time. I waited for the anger, the disappointment. How could you do this to us? Instead, she held me. It's okay. We can make money again. As long as you're alive. Those words, I'll never forget them as long as I live. She knew. She saw me standing at that railing, and she understood exactly what I was about to do. She took my hand and led me inside, away from the edge. That night my wife saved my life. We talked until 6 a.m. I told her every detail start to finish, every stupid decision, every lie. When I finished, she said something I never expected. I have $50,000. Saved separately. 30 years. Try again. I thought she was crazy. I had just confessed to losing everything, and she wanted me to try again. After the dry cleaner closed, your eyes were dead. But when you started trading, they came alive. I want you to really live, with light in your eyes. I asked what happens if I fail again. Then we'll open a fried chicken shop. I laughed. For the first time in months, I laughed. That's when I knew I had one more chance. And I couldn't waste it. $50,000. My wife's 30 years of secret savings. The last money we had in the world. This time I didn't touch it for 2 months. No trading. Not a single click. Instead, I studied my failure. I pulled every trade record and put it in Excel. I called my son in New York to learn how to use spreadsheets. A 64-year-old man learning Excel from his child. It was humbling, but I didn't care anymore about pride. I created columns: date, entry price, exit price, profit or loss, and one more column that changed everything: how I felt. Every losing trade had the same pattern. Hope this is definitely going up. Denial: it'll come back. Just wait. Anger: I need to recover everything now. Emotion: every single time. The enemy wasn't the market. The enemy was me. So I started doing things I'd never done in 64 years. Meditation. 20 minutes every morning. I felt ridiculous at first. Sitting there with my eyes closed. Breathing. What was this nonsense? The first week, I couldn't last 5 minutes. My mind kept screaming, what's Bitcoin doing right now? But I kept going. 2 weeks later, 10 minutes. A month later, 20, walking. 1 hour every afternoon, around the neighborhood park, phone left at home. At first, I was terrified. What if something big happens while I'm gone? But I learned the world doesn't end if you don't check charts for an hour. I started a trading journal. Every single trade recorded, why I entered, why I exited, how I felt. Was this trade based on analysis or emotion? Emotional trades got a red X. First month 80% of my trades were emotional, red X after red X. 3 months later 10%. Then I created rules, 7 of them. I wrote them on paper and posted them next to my computer. Rule 1, maximum 3% daily loss. If exceeded, computer off, go walk. Rule 2, leverage 5x or less. Never higher. Rule 3, never more than 20% of total assets in one position. Rule 4, always set stop loss before entering. No exceptions. Rule 5, when daily profit target is reached, stop, even if you want more. Rule 6, never trade after drinking or when emotional. Rule 7, no trading on Sundays, family time. I read those rules every morning before touching my computer. Finally, I quit the trading communities, deleted Kakao Talk, removed myself from every group chat. Other people's profit screenshots were poison. They fed my greed and made me take stupid risks. I decided to trade alone. Quietly, no one watching, no one to impress. May 2023. 2 months of preparation complete. I deposited $25,000. Kept $25,000 in reserve. This is the last chance. If this doesn't work, chicken shop it is. I smiled when I said it, but inside, I was terrified. My trading was completely different now. Before, I traded 50, 100 times a day, staring at 1-minute charts, every little movement long, short, long. I thought that was trading. During those 2 months of study, I finally understood something simple but critical. There are only 2 market states, sideways and trending. Sideways markets have no direction, up, down, up, down. If you trade during sideways, you just bleed money, fees, stop losses, death by 1,000 cuts. Trending markets are different. They pick a direction and go. Up keeps going up, down keeps going down. I realized why I lost everything before. I was forcing trades during sideways markets, fighting the market instead of waiting for it. New rule: I don't enter until the trend is confirmed. How did I confirm trends? The simplest method possible. The 20-day moving average. Price above the line and line pointing up, uptrend. Price below and line pointing down, downtrend. Everything else, sideways. No trade. First week of May 2023. Bitcoin was moving sideways around $27,000. The old me would have jumped in immediately. It'll bounce here. Long. Stopped out. Long again. Stopped out again. But I waited. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. My hands itched. The temptation was unbearable. I went for a walk, came back, still sideways, waited more. Second week of May, Bitcoin broke through $28,000. The 20-day line started pointing up. Still I waited. 3 more days. I needed confirmation. Bitcoin hit $29,000. Moving steadily above the 20-day line. Only then did I enter. $5,000. Just 20% of my capital. 3x leverage. Stop loss at $28,000, 3% below entry. If I was wrong, I'd lose $450. I could handle that. Next morning, Bitcoin broke $30,000. My position was up 10%, $1,500 profit. The old me would have taken it immediately. Good enough. But I asked myself, has the trend broken? No, the 20-day line was still pointing up. New rule: if the trend is alive, keep the position alive. I raised my stop loss to $29,500. Now even worst case, I break even. 1 week later, Bitcoin at $31,000. Position up 20%, $3,000 profit. I took half off, locked in $1,500. Let the other half ride, secure half, let half run. That became my strategy. June 2023. My account reached $32,000. 30% gain in 1 month. The old me would have raised leverage. Time to go big. Instead, I learned pyramiding. Adding to winners. The concept is simple, only add to positions that are already profitable. Never average down on losers. Before, when I was losing, I'd add more money. I'll lower my average. That's how I got liquidated. Pyramiding is the opposite. You only increase your bet when you're already winning. When the trend is confirmed and working in your favor. July, Bitcoin moved again. Broke through $31,000. I entered $31,000 with 20% of my assets. It broke $33,000. I added 15% more. It broke $35,000. I added another 10%. 3 entries, like a pyramid, wide at the bottom, narrow at the top. Most money at the first entry, least at the last. Higher entries carry more risk. If the market reverses, the latest entry gets stopped out first. By keeping later entries smaller, I protected my overall position. Early August, Bitcoin pulled back, $35,000 to $33,000. My third entry got stopped out. Small loss, but my first entry was still profitable. Second entry near break-even. Overall still positive. Then Bitcoin rose again. $34,000. $35,000. $36,000. I pyramided again. Re-entered the third position at $35,500. End of August. Account reached $60,000. From $25,000 to $60,000 in 3 months. 2.4x. That night, I told my wife, it's going well, $60,000 now. She smiled but grabbed my hand. Don't push too hard. I won't. I'm following the rules. That night, I slept deeply for the first time in months. September, account at $90,000. Bitcoin moving sideways around $26,000. I reduced my trading. Sideways market. Nothing to do but wait. I checked charts twice a day, morning and evening. That's it. No more staring at screens for hours. October. The market started buzzing. News everywhere. Bitcoin ETF might get approved. SEC reviewing applications. YouTube channels went crazy. ETF means $100,000 Bitcoin. Historic moment. The old me would have gone all in immediately. This is it. 20x leverage. But I learned, news is just noise. I wait for the chart to confirm. Mid-October, Bitcoin started moving. $26,000 to $27,000. Then $28,000. The 20-day line turned upward. I made my first entry, 20% of assets, 3x leverage. Stop loss set. End of October, Bitcoin broke $34,000. I pyramided, added $30,000. Added again at $32,000. Then it happened. Early November, Bitcoin crashed overnight, $34,000 to $31,000. 9% drop. My third position got stopped out. My second position was bleeding. 3 a.m. I sat staring at the screen. Red numbers everywhere. $12,000 in 1 day. My heart was pounding. The old thoughts came back. Just hold. It'll recover. Don't cut losses. I remembered those exact thoughts had destroyed me before. I looked at the rules posted on my wall. Stop loss line is non-negotiable. My hand wouldn't move. Part of me wanted to believe this time was different. I closed my eyes, breathed, like meditation, in, out, in, out. 3 minutes later, I opened my eyes. I cut my second position. Locked in the $3,500 loss. My first position was still profitable. I kept that, raised the stop loss. Bitcoin moved sideways for 2 weeks. Some channel screamed ETF is dead. Bitcoin to $20,000. I ignored them, checked the chart. The 20-day line was flat, not broken. I held. Mid-November, Bitcoin moved again. $35,000. $36,000. $37,000. I pyramided again, this time with confidence. The trend was alive. November, December, Bitcoin didn't stop. $37,000. $40,000. $42,000. I kept pyramiding, following the rules, taking partial profits, letting winners run. End of December, my account showed $380,000. I couldn't believe it. I refreshed the screen 5 times. The number didn't change. From $25,000 to $380,000 in 7 months. I almost told my wife, but something told me to wait. It wasn't over. January 10th, 2024. The day arrived. Bitcoin spot ETF approved by SEC. The moment the news broke, Bitcoin exploded. $42,000. $45,000. $47,000. $48,000. 15% in one day. My screen was green everywhere. Numbers climbing so fast I couldn't track them. $40,000. $55,000. $70,000. $85,000. I stared at the screen. My hands were shaking, not from fear this time, from disbelief. The old me would have held everything. It's going to $100,000. But I remembered the rules. I remembered what greed had cost me. I closed half my positions, locked in profits. Take half, let half ride. End of January, Bitcoin pulled back. $48,000 to $42,000. 12% drop. I wasn't shaken. I'd already secured profits. The remaining positions were still green. February, Bitcoin rose again. Broke $50,000. $55,000. I pyramided. The trend was still alive. March, Bitcoin broke $60,000. Racing toward all-time highs. $65,000. $70,000. I held, but I was careful, trailing stop losses, protecting profits. End of March, account broke $850,000. That night, I looked in the mirror. 65 years old now, more gray hair, deeper wrinkles, but my eyes were different, completely different from that night on the balcony. I was alive, really alive. April 2024. Bitcoin passed $70,000. My account kept climbing. $950,000. Then the number I never imagined. $1 million. 7 digits. $1 million. I stared at the screen for a long time. 1 year ago, I was standing on a balcony ready to jump. Balance $0.00. Now $1 million. Strange thing, I wasn't as happy as I expected. No screaming, no jumping, just calm. I'd already experienced it, the terror of watching those numbers turn to zero. I knew this was just digits on a screen. It could vanish tomorrow. I thought about Soon Ja, every morning bringing me coffee, finding me on the balcony, holding me while I sobbed. I have $50,000. Try again. Without her, none of this exists. I got up from my chair, walked to the kitchen. She was making dinner. Come here. I want to show you something. She followed me to the computer. I pointed at the screen. $1,100,000. Her eyes went wide. This is what? Our money, from the $50,000 you gave me. She covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. I held her for a long time. Dinner got cold. It didn't matter. That night, I made a decision. Enough. Next day, I closed 80% of my positions, transferred $800,000 to a safe account. I left $200,000 for trading, reduced my screen time to once or twice a day, no more risking everything. May, Bitcoin corrected, $70,000 to $60,000. My remaining positions took losses. I didn't care. The $800,000 was secure. End of May, total assets $1,600,000, from $58,000 that became $0. Restarted with $50,000 borrowed from my wife. 16 months later $1,600,000. That night, I wrote the last entry in my trading journal. Goal achieved. Time to spend with family. I closed the journal. Forever. Memorial Day weekend 2024. I gathered my family. Junho flew in from New York. 6-hour flight. Sujin drove from downtown LA. Soonja wanted to cook, but I stopped her. Let's eat out. Somewhere nice. We went to a steakhouse in Beverly Hills, the kind of place I would never have entered before. $150 per steak. I ordered a private room. We sat around the table. Junho looked confused. Dad, what's going on? This isn't like you. I smiled. Eat first. We'll talk after. After dessert, I told them everything. The trading, losing everything. Standing on the balcony, their mother saving my life, starting again. The $1.6 million. When I finished, the table was silent. Sujin spoke first, tears in her eyes. Dad, I had no idea. We should have called more. I squeezed her hand. I didn't tell you. It's not your fault. Then I pulled out 4 envelopes, one for each of them. Junho opened his. A check for $200,000. Dad, this is. I can't accept this. You're paying $4,000 rent in Manhattan. You'll need a down payment someday. Take it. Sujin's envelope, also $200,000. Pay off your nursing school loans. Save the rest. Her hands were shaking. I turned to Soonja, handed her the last envelope, $300,000. You gave me $50,000 and told me to try again. This is that money groan. She couldn't speak, just covered her face and cried. I held her hand. I wouldn't be here without you. None of this would exist. That night the bill was $800. I didn't blink. My family, that's the real American dream. Everything else is just numbers. Before I finish, there's something important I need to say. My story sounds like a dream. $0 to $1.6 million. But here's the reality: 70 to 90% of crypto futures traders lose money. Most people who try what I did end up like my first attempt. Liquidated. Destroyed. I got lucky. The timing was perfect. I restarted right before the 2024 bull market. That was luck. Pure luck. Of course, without my strategy, my rules, my mental discipline, I couldn't have captured that luck. But luck was still a factor. I know this. If I had started again in 2022, during the bear market, I probably would have lost everything again. So let me be clear, this story is not a tutorial. It's not how to get rich trading crypto. If you borrow money and trade Bitcoin because of my story, you will probably lose it. That's the statistical truth. What I found wasn't really money. It was a second chance, a chance to live again. The most important thing I learned wasn't chart patterns or risk management. It was this: I almost destroyed everything by hiding my pain. The moment I told my wife the truth, my life changed. The money came later. What came first was honesty. If you want to try trading, here's my real advice. Never invest money you can't afford to lose. Start with money that won't matter if it disappears. And more important than any strategy, manage your mind. The enemy isn't the market, it's yourself. These days, I trade very little, an hour or 2 at most. The rest of my time, I spend with Soonja, walking in the park, watching movies, weekend trips. Next month, we're flying to Korea. First time in 30 years. I want to show her where I grew up, the streets I walked, the ocean I saw as a child. After that, Tokyo, Paris, places we always dreamed about but could never afford. We have time now, and a little money, that's enough. Someone watching this might be in a difficult place right now, struggling with something, feeling like there's no way out. I'm not telling you to trade crypto. That's not the point. The point is this: whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry it alone. One honest conversation with someone beside you can change everything. And no matter how old you are, where you're from, or what you've lost, it's never too late to start over. My name is Young Minnow. I'm 65 years old, former dry cleaner, current retiree, and I'm still here. Thank you for listening. March 15, 2023. I stood on a 14th floor balcony. I thought it was the end. It wasn't. It was a beginning. March 15, 2024. Exactly 1 year later, I bought flowers. I handed them to Sunja. For the day you saved my life. She laughed and hit my arm. What's wrong with you? Being all sentimental, but her eyes were wet. Maybe life is like that. When we think it's over, there's still a page left. We just can't see it. Someone watching this might be in a difficult place right now, struggling with something, feeling like there's no way out. I'm not telling you to trade crypto. That's not the point. The point is this: whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry it alone. One honest conversation with someone beside you can change everything. And no matter how old you are, where you're from, or what you've lost, it's never too late to start over. My name is Young Minnow. I'm 65 years old, former dry cleaner, current retiree, and I'm still here. Thank you for listening.